words of my mouth and meditations of our hearts help to reify, glorify, and extend your kingdom, Lord. Please be seated. Happy Father's Day. Now, ladies, I am going to be speaking to fathers today, and I invite you to pray along with me for fathers in this world. And as we will see, we all need your prayers for the important job of raising children. And everything that I say today presupposes that couples who are in families raising children work together. But I'm particularly focused on this Father's Day, on what we, men, as fathers, can contribute to making this world a better place. Is that fair? All right. So, I really want to thank every father for all the things that they do to raise children into maturity, self-sufficiency, self-reliance, spiritual maturity. And I want to begin by asking, now this is not the only question I'm going to ask, so I'm asking who today, as a father, has children living in their house now? Raise your hand for me. 2, 3, and I see 4 back there. All right. All right. So, the qualities of a great father. Now, the biblical passage that comes to mind in my experience of fatherhood is the prodigal son. Right? I mean, it's always this coming and going. I was with a group of men yesterday, and we were talking about children, and it was like, well, they come, they go, and they come and they go, and I said, yes, and sometimes it's up to age 50 that they're coming and going. But it's that sense of we are that father of prodigal children, because it's always we love them unconditionally. So that whole notion of we as fathers looking and living out that prodigal son, and the qualities of a great father are deeply rooted in biblical principles and values. And it's in practical knowledge and often hard-learned experience that we share with our children. Now, I picked out just 5 key qualities that characterize a great father in our tradition. One is faithfulness. A great father is faithful to God. He's faithful to his family and faithful to his commitments. He does what he said he would do. In practical, the model that a great father presents to children is a life of integrity and consistency in his faith and his actions. And one of the things that means is we reveal to our children that it's not all about us. We are not the one who provides. It is God. And we come into alignment with what God has given us in terms of our unique ability, our gifts, our experience. That's what we thank God for, and let our children know that they too are not going to be alone and required to do it all for themselves. The second of these 5 great qualities is love. A great father loves sacrificially, unconditionally, and actively demonstrates love to his children. Now, his love always mirrors God's love, God's nurturing, and God's supporting of his children, so that we as fathers support our children emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And I have to confess to you that when I had the wonderful opportunity of not only marrying a wonderful woman, but also along with that had two great children, 8 and 10. And I had to immediately reassess my commitments and to begin to ask, where do I want to spend my time? And I had some help in asking that question. But that's part of what we do to live sacrificially for our children. The third thing I want to commend is leadership. A great father leads his family spiritually, emotionally, and practically. A great leader has a vision. And a great leader shares that vision with their family. You see that mountain over there? That's where we as a family are going. Do you think we can get there? Can you see it with me? Do you want to go? What part do you want to play in us climbing that mountain? That vision, that opening is what great fathers do for children, because from the very beginnings of their consciousness, they recognize they are part of this family. They're part of building this family, and they begin to recognize that there's more to this family than just the human beings walking around, that God has created them and given them a purpose that they will discover along the way. Now, this is probably not new to you fathers who have children in the home right now. Patience. Patience. This universe that we experience today took about 13.7 billion years to get to this place. So be patient with your children, because they too are part of the process of growing and becoming that which God asked them to be, and which you can see them becoming as you grow with them. And that means that a great father exhibits patience and forbearance. Understand that parenting requires time, grace, and perseverance. And you, as a great father, I know you model that patience in discipline, teaching, and how you resolve conflicts. And then finally, one of the top 5 is prayerfulness. A great father is prayerful for himself, for his family. He seeks God's guidance, wisdom, and blessings for his family. And he teaches his children the importance of prayer. They're never alone. He leads them in seeking God's will in all aspects of their life. And God's will comes up from within. It's that quiet voice that we hear when we are quiet and open to hear it. Now, it's these qualities collectively that they reflect a great father who seeks to emulate God's love for his family, God's wisdom and character in his role as a parent and nurturer of his children's faith and growth. Would you agree with me? It's not easy to be a father. It's not easy. Fatherhood in the modern era presents a unique set of challenges that can affect fathers in various aspects of their lives. Societal roles and expectations are continually shifting, and fathers must navigate a complex landscape of responsibilities, pressures, and opportunities. And here, we're going to explore some of the fathers' most significant challenges today and discuss how these can impact their roles in the family and society. First is that we have to balance professional and family commitments, right? One of the most pressing challenges for fathers is managing work demands alongside their family responsibilities. Many fathers strive to provide their families financially while being present and engaged in their children's lives. This dual commitment often leads to stress and time constraints. Fathers often struggle to allocate their time effectively, leading to feelings of guilt or inadequacy in fulfilling their roles, both as providers and caregivers. We know that we should be better, and we know that we fail. Many fathers are concerned fundamentally about providing financial stability in today's, how do you describe it, economic instability. This includes managing daily expenses, saving for future needs like education and retirement, and dealing with all these economic uncertainties. We often feel the weight of being the primary breadwinner. At least that's what we were told that we were to be. We welcome our spouse's contribution, and sometimes they're bigger breadwinners than we are. That doesn't change what we were taught as children, as growing up into men, that our responsibility was. And so this responsibility, this discernment can lead to stress and anxiety. And we often face societal expectations to conform to those traditional gender roles as primary providers, while also being nurturing and actively involved in parenting. The responsibilities of fatherhood combined with social pressures can take a toll on our mental health. Stress, anxiety, depression, they're common issues that can arise from trying to meet the expectations that are placed upon us. And one of the major issues for men, given these stresses, is loneliness. The expectations of the job, the family, relationship with the spouse, it can leave little time for our other passions that make men whole. Many fathers feel isolated. They lack adequate family and workplace support. They don't have a lot of friends. So we've got to balance the demands of fatherhood, and we've got to maintain a strong, supportive relationship with our spouse or a partner, and that can be challenging. Effective communication and mutual support are crucial, but it can be difficult to sustain under stress. So becoming a father alters relationship dynamics. It requires adjustments in roles, responsibilities, and expectations. Fathers, you may find it challenging to navigate these changes while maintaining harmony and intimacy in your relationships. Fathers today, with children, face a range of challenges that impact your roles and responsibilities. But you have a community here to support you. Ask for what you need. You may have men who invite you into areas of service, study, and prayer. You're not alone. We're grateful for your service. We pray for you, and we will listen to you. We will share our experiences as we struggle to be great fathers. This community loves you and applauds your commitment to becoming a great father. Now, as we celebrate fathers today, I want to acknowledge the reality that there are many fatherless children and families in our country. A few facts. There are 72 million fathers in the United States today with children. But 34% of marriages end in divorce in the United States. That's 750,000 family separations every year, and many of these include children. 1.5 million men are in prison in the United States, and many of them have children from which they're separated. 424,000 children are in foster care systems because they do not or cannot live with their own fathers. That comes to 20 million children in the United States who live in homes with absent fathers. Now, I don't have to tell you about the impact of having an absent father on mothers and children. It can be significant across various aspects. Father absence contributes to emotional insecurity, low self-esteem, and higher rates of anxiety and depression in children. That leaves single mothers to carry the emotional burden of sole parenting. Father absence can result in economic hardship for children and their mothers, as single-parent households often face greater financial challenges. Studies show that children from father-absent homes have lower academic performance, higher dropout rates, and reduced motivation in school. Father absence can link to higher rates of behavioral problems, delinquency, and substance abuse among children. They may lack positive male role models and guidance, affecting their social skills, decision-making abilities, and peer relationships. And father absence has been associated with poorer health outcomes, including higher rates of chronic illness, obesity, and risky behaviors. Fathers play an important role in families in bringing children to secure adulthood. They contribute to the well-being of their communities and their own children. And we can recognize the pain and limitations absent fathers create for their children and spouses. We have a responsibility for supporting single mothers and fatherless children through love, mentorship, and practical assistance. So today we can remember not only great fathers with children, but also with sadness and grief, the children and spouses left behind by absent fathers. Now, I want to ask, who here is a grandfather? Grandfathers. All right. We don't have Grandfather's Day, but you didn't get, it's sort of like when you're ordained a deacon and then you're ordained a priest, you're still a deacon. So when your children take off and have children of their own, you're grandfather now and you're still a father. So let's talk about what that might mean. You have wisdom, you have experience, and you have love that you can bring to your families. Now, if you want to see a powerful blessing of children, you can take a look at Jacob in Genesis, the 48th chapter of Genesis. The whole chapter is Jacob blessing his grandchildren. Grandfathers play an invaluable role in helping families raise successful, self-directing, and godly children. Your unique position offers wisdom, stability, and spiritual guidance that can profoundly impact your grandchildren's development. Now, as a great-grandfather of two, I share with you some ways that we can contribute significantly to their families. Number one, grandfathers can be instrumental in passing on faith and spiritual values. By sharing stories of faith and demonstrating a commitment to prayer and worship, sharing your experience, grandfathers can instill a deep sense of spiritual heritage in your grandchildren. When I must have been 12, I began to wander from the right way, and my parents said to my grandfather, "Would you come talk to Buzz," which is what my name was there. And he came, and we had a long conversation about faith and about Jesus and God and what I was doing and how I was doing it. And we parted on great terms. I knew he loved me. And he died 2 years later. And within 6 months, I had this dream. And he was above me, and he said to me in that dream the answer to the conversation that we had. And he said, "Buzz, there is a heaven. There is a heaven." Now, You can look at that however you want to, but somehow his presence in my life set me on a path that continues to inspire me today. I can't explain it, but I can tell you I appreciate it and I love him for it. You can have that kind of effect on your grandchildren. But prayer is the cornerstone of life. We can pray regularly for our grandchildren's growth. Make a list. Pray for what they need. When we're with them, we can involve them in our prayers, teaching them the importance and power of communicating with God. We grandfathers have a wealth of life experiences and wisdom to share. We can offer insights into dealing with challenges, how to make wise decisions, and understanding the consequences of actions. The stories we tell can provide valuable lessons guiding grandchildren as they navigate their paths. You don't have to know about TikTok or Instagram. You know about your life. You know about what you have learned in terms of relationships and the power of love. You can share that with them, because I promise you there's very little of that going on in TikTok and Instagram. But that's your role. As acting as mentors, we as grandfathers can provide advice on education, career choices, and personal development. We can help them set goals and offer encouragement and support as grandchildren pursue their aspirations. We can help reduce stress and create a more stable environment for the entire family by offering support to their own children, to our children in their parenting roles. This can involve helping with childcare, providing advice, or simply being a soundboard for concerns and challenges. We have a responsibility to involve ourselves in our grandchildren's lives. Whether it's attending school events, sport games, plays, or simply spending time together, a grandfather's presence can provide emotional stability and a sense of security. And finally, grandfathers can provide a source of unconditional love and acceptance. We don't have to worry about what happens if they don't clean up their room after they were told to do that. We don't have to worry about what happened in school yesterday that needs to be dealt with. We can love them unconditionally by providing this support and encouragement can boost our grandchildren's self-esteem and help them feel valued and understood. We could be a trusted, confident, and a safe place for grandchildren to express their feelings and concerns. By listening attentively and offering wise counsel, we can help our grandchildren negotiate and navigate these emotional challenges and offer guidance and assurance. We grandfathers have a unique and powerful role in shaping our grandchildren's lives. By providing spiritual guidance, sharing wisdom, strengthening family bonds, encouraging independence, and offering emotional support, we contribute to raising successful, self-directing, and godly people. Our influence, built on love, faith, and experience, helps create a strong foundation for our grandchildren to thrive, both spiritually and personally. We don't always see the results immediately. We may not even live long enough to see them at all. But we have the challenge, the opportunity, the grace to offer our gifts of love and support now. Now, one last question. How many, raise your hand if this is true for you, how many people here have fathers and grandfathers? What? Ever? Okay, all right. All right, so let's remember our own fathers and grandfathers today. My father died 14 years ago. He was a great man. He was part of that great generation who defeated the biggest enemies we could imagine. His activity in New Guinea changed his life. He was very quiet. He never talked about it. But I heard from other parts of the family what impact that war had on him. Now, of my two grandfathers, one was an absent grandfather. I met him only once when I visited him for a week in Colorado Springs after I graduated from high school. The other died 63 years ago when I was 15, and I told you the story that I remember for him. Now, I recognize that all fathers and grandfathers are human, fallible, and make mistakes. What I have learned in my spiritual journey is to give thanks for the great things my parents did and to forgive them for what I saw as faults, limitations, constraints, and things that I would have done differently. So I want to ask you today to join me in giving thanks for our fathers and our grandfathers who nurtured us, supported us, challenged us to become the people we are today, did the best they knew how to do. And so I challenge you, spend some time today quietly, imagining you are in the presence of your father, and then in the presence of your grandfathers. And thank them. Thank them for the opportunities to live this life in their love and the opportunity to live in the life that God has for us. When you experience that love today, and you express your gratitude for everything that they did, may you know that love now, and may we know it forever. Happy Father's Day.